Hi there, and welcome back to another video. Today we're just doing a super casual chat about releases coming out in September that I'm kind of excited for. The purpose of this video is just for me to talk about some of the books that I'm excited for, and it could also be a resource for people trying to build out their September or fall TBRs. So let's jump right into it. Starting out with the first Tuesday of September, which is tomorrow. There are a couple of books coming out that I've actually already read because I got them as ARCs. So I wanted to start off with those. So the first one is At Last by Marissa Silver. I will have a full review coming out on it if you're interested in hearing more in depth, or if you've read it and you wanna hear somebody else's opinions about it. I really liked it. I thought it was interesting. I gave it a 4-star rating. That book is just all about my perception. I said the book was about motherhood and womanhood. Like I said, I should have a full review coming out tomorrow on that one if you are interested in it. Up next is another ARC that I got for September 2nd that I really enjoyed. It's called Witchy Wood by Leah Amador. So this one is kind of like Cupcake Wars meets magic. So we have this competition show, like a TV show, where the witches are competing to see who can create like the best or the biggest spells. It pulls it off. It's a romance. It's really cute. It's kind of enemies to lovers. One of our main characters is really into puns. I'm not personally into puns, so I wasn't like super into that, but if you're into goofy stuff, you will definitely enjoy this one. And again, I think the premise alone is enough to make it fun. I will say this is a witchy book, but it's not very autumnal. The vibes are not like pumpkins and like falling leaves. It's very much like game show vibes. So I would keep that in mind if you're looking for something with a more like fall vibe to it. That book is not going to be it. The next book is another ARC that I got for September 2nd, and I actually ended up DNFing this one, unfortunately. I wanted to DNF it when I first started reading it. I pushed through that and actually started liking it. There was some humor between these like queer characters that I thought was really fun and like quirky. Like one of the characters says, you know, there's something queer about reupholstery. It was funny. There's a lot of stuff in there that is very like natural and the dynamic is good. However, this book was is a romance. It's meant to be a romance, and I just felt no romantic chemistry between the characters, and it just got to the point where it was too much for me. I couldn't do it. So I DNF'd this one. I was kind of disappointed because there were a lot of elements I liked. If you're into like travel romance, if you're into the destination being a character in the story, 100% I would recommend you give this one a try, because maybe your interests for romantic chemistry are different from mine. Okay, I have promised not every single book in this video is going to be an ARC that I've already read. A lot of these are new releases that I haven't read yet and I'm just excited for, but the next one is Sweet Heat by Bolu Babalola. It's a second chance romance. I like this one. The thing about this book is it is so, what's the word I'm looking like, prosy, like flowery. Like the writing is incredibly dense. The descriptions are incredibly dense. The characters reflect a lot. There's a lot of like, well, just thinking about thoughts and feelings. It does get to be a little bit much by the end of the book, but overall I really liked it. I thought this book was just, there's so much about music and culture and just family and like so many feel-good things in this book that even with the tension between our characters and the fact that they initially broke up, we see it through to the end and it ends up being a good time for everybody. If you're into books about like musicians or artists, I would recommend this one. And if you're a fan of Second Chance, you might like it as well. I happen to be a fan of Second Chance. Okay, this next book is the first one that I actually have not read. I did not get as an ARC. So this is It Had to Be Him by Adib Khorram. And the little kind of blurb says, Heartstopper meets Eat, Pray, Love in this swoony, spicy second chance romance. I love travel romance. If I ever write romance books, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm a big fan of this being set in Italy. I love reading things set somewhere other than where I live. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I don't know if I'm gonna have a chance to pick it up this month, but it's definitely going on my like someday TBR, and I do plan to read it. The next release coming out on September 2nd that I am excited for is The Woman in Cabin 10. I've read several books by Ruth Ware and none of them have let me down. Like the lowest I've ever given is a 3, and I think that that's perfectly fine for a thriller. Like when you are coming into reading a thriller, you know what you're looking for. You're looking for just like a little bit of your heart racing, a little bit of adrenaline, a little bit of not knowing what's gonna happen, and that's what she delivers. And so I'm looking forward to this one. Again, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pick it up in September. Actually, I will have a TBR video coming out probably by the end of this week, so I'll find out if I'm hoping I can pick it up by then. I haven't actually like made my plan yet. It will go on my TBR, and then if I ever have a road trip, I use like my someday TBR for like, okay, I'm going on a road trip. I want to look at the library and see what audiobooks are available now. I will like scroll through those books and be like, okay, this is on here, let's do it. Moving on from the thriller from Ruth Ware. So this one, first of all, I love the cover. I'm also just a sucker for anything that's like centered around books, like the publishing industry. It's all very interesting to me. And so yes, I'm drawn in by this one. Okay, so moving on to books coming out on September 9th. The first one I have for this is People Watching, and I'll tell you something. I am the kind of person who picks a book by its cover. I pick books by their covers. Maybe it's bad because maybe I miss out on books that are like awesome and so good and they just have bad covers. I think that there might be something to the level of effort that goes into the cover can be indicative of what the book holds. I don't know. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. But this one, the first time I saw this cover, I didn't like it. But now that we're getting closer to fall, I looked at this one and I was kind of like, okay, it's like drawing me in. According to the blurb that I'm reading here, it looks like this one has like kind of the teach me trope of like, oh, I'll like teach you how to kiss, or I'll teach you how to date, or I'll teach you how to be intimate, or all these things. And I usually like that. Sometimes I don't, but I guess we'll just see. We'll just have to see. And I feel like I might be picking this one up because of the cover and because I'm actually getting really into fall. So we'll see. All right, another one that's coming out on September 9th is one that I've read. It's an arc that I got, Ladylike by Mackenzie Lee. You should read this. If you like sapphic romance, if you like Regency era stuff, I think I gave it a 4-star just because my 5 stars are really rare for me. 5 stars, like a book is a 5-star for me if I would read it again. And just because I like to read so much stuff, I like to read so many new books. I don't usually read books again just because it feels like, oh, I would rather read something new. So for me to give something a 5-star, it's kind of a big deal. I know that everybody has different ideas of how rating systems should work. Even like my friends and I have different ideas of how to rate things, but this is just the way that I do it. It works for me. Anyway, all of that aside, I gave Ladylike 4 stars and I liked it. Yeah, I think if you like sapphic romance, if you like any of those things, you should read it. The next release that I'm excited for coming out on September 9th is Girl Next Door by Rachel Meredith. It's this main character who finds out that this like romance book that people are loving, that's flying off the shelves, might actually be about her. Up next is Middle Spoon by Alejandro Varela, and I got this book as an arc. I have not read it yet, but if I like it or if I think it would make an interesting review, I will probably post a full review. Middle Spoon looks like it's gonna be kind of a contemporary queer story about a man experiencing heartbreak. I'll keep this one brief because if I do a full review, it will be more interesting to hear what I have to say after I've read it. So up next is The Most Unusual Haunting of Edgar Lovejoy. One of the little tags on this is ghostly, cozy LGBTQ romance. This feels like exactly the right thing to go on like an October TBR. And this one also looks like we're gonna have one character who believes in ghosts and another one who doesn't, and I feel like that's gonna be such a good dynamic. Moving on to September 16th, the first book on this day of new releases is an arc that I got, The Austen Affair. I'm so excited to read it. I'm just moving down the line in terms of like timeline for arcs, so I haven't quite gotten there yet, but I am almost certain I will be posting a full review for this one. 2 feuding co-stars in a Jane Austen film adaptation accidentally travel back in time to the Regency era in this delightfully clever and riotously funny debut. It sounds so good to me. I will probably be posting a full review for this one. Up next is We Met Like This by Casey West, and this is another cover that I love it. Well, it kind of screams summer to me, which I guess is maybe not great considering the fact that we're moving into autumn, but I really like it. And this is another one that is set with our main character is a literary agent. It is on my TBR. And for September 23rd, I have an arc for this one as well called Ladies in Hating. A pair of gothic novelists trade rivalry for love in the swoony, steamy sapphic regency by bestselling author Alexandra Vosti. It's a sapphic regency romance and I have it as an arc, so I am definitely planning to read it and I will most likely post a full review. The next book coming out on September 23rd, the next new release that I'm excited for. This one is called What Fury Brings by Trisha Levenseller. A warrior princess vying for the throne is determined to prove her worth by kidnapping a husband. And then Sanos, heir to the kingdom of Brutus, has nothing but contempt for the idea of a society run by women. I want to read this book. I think this is a really interesting setup. And I don't, again, like with most of these books, I don't know if I'm gonna get to it super soon, but it's definitely going on my someday TBR. Another release coming out on September 23rd that I am kind of, like, I don't want to say excited for, but that I am interested in is We Love You, Bunny. This is a sequel to, I believe, the first book, which is just called Bunny. And I'm just gonna read a little bit of this to you. In the cult classic novel Bunny, Samantha Heather Mackey, a lonely outsider student at a highly selective MFA program in New England, was first ostracized then seduced seduced by a clique of creepy, sweet, rich girls who call themselves Bunny. I'm interested in this for a couple of reasons. First, that Bunny was just very popular, and like I feel like anytime you see a book like that over and over and over again, it just kind of gets in your brain and you're like, yeah, I want to read it. And then the second reason is I've actually applied to some MFA programs, and it's something that I could see myself doing at some point in the future when, you know, things kind of line up. So I'm very interested in stories that take place in MFA programs and around them and stuff. So I'm interested in this, and I actually was thinking of doing some sort of like reading vlog where I could read the first one before this one comes out and then get this one and read it at the same time. So I guess just let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. This one I am very excited for. It's Road Trip with a Vampire by Jenna Levine. So I believe this is her third vampire book. I think the first one is like My Roommate is a Vampire, and the second one is like Vampire Plus One, and I believe this is like the third like vampire book from her. I actually have not read the second one. I read the first one and I loved it because I read it while we were visiting Chicago, and that book is actually set in Chicago. The only problem I had with My Roommate is a Vampire is I felt like the ending rushed almost. Like at some point it was just like, hey, we gotta wrap this up, we gotta end this, so let's just quick slap an ending on there, and none of it just didn't really feel like it made sense, or like the story had not naturally been leading up to this ending. But I still really liked it. It was really just like cute, and so I'm really interested in this one, and I feel like it's one of those things that it's fun to put like a lighthearted vampire read on like a TBR. This year might actually be the year that I end up reading Twilight, so I could have this October be like a very vampire October. I could save this one and read it then and put it on my October TBR, but we'll see. Okay, another new release coming on September 23rd is Tourist Season by Brynn Weaver, and I'll just read this little bit of it for you. Tourist Season is a darkly funny, slow burn enemies to lovers romance where destruction and desire are balanced on the edge of a blade, and where love is the most dangerous battleground of all. So we have, I believe, two murderers going back and forth. I read a short story with a premise like this a while ago, but that was not a romance. I read a short story about a serial killer who picks up hitchhikers and a hitchhiker who serial killed the people who would pick them up, if that makes sense. And so the whole story was just about them there like trying to kill each other, but it was not a romance. And so I'm very interested in seeing this be put into a romance. And I think it would be kind of like, I read one recently called Killer Getaway that kind of played around with this idea of like adding murder into these romance stories. And I'm kind of interested in it. I'm interested to see how they'll be able to pull it off because, you know, I think like most people, I generally don't root for murderers. It makes it kind of difficult to make likable characters in my opinion, but I am interested to see how it turns out. So that one, I also feel like that one could very much like an October kind of read. I usually don't plan my TBRs until right at the start of the month, so I never know what's really gonna make it on until that point, but this will go on the like possibilities list, definitely. Up next is Thief of Night by Holly Black, and this is a sequel. I put this on here because I have not read the first one, but I'm very interested in it. So this could be another situation of like reading the first book as like a reading vlog so that I could read the next one. Again, just let me know if that's something you're interested in. I'm kind of intrigued by the idea. I guess it could be kind of cool to put that all together, like to do Bunny and like Book of Night, like those together. Yeah, that could be kind of fun, like doing like a read the first one to read the sequel when it comes out. Okay, so then the last day of September, we have September 30th, Soul Searching by Lyla Sage. I have heard so much about, what is her other series? Rebel Blue Ranch series. I bought the books. I still have not had the chance to read them. So I'm kind of putting this on here as her reputation precedes her. Hopefully it's good. I am thinking I will probably try to pick this one up, maybe even do like a review on it or something. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I'm interested. This is just I've heard of the author. I've heard her name. I know that those books are really popular. I know that a lot of people like them. So I'm hoping if I can grab maybe like this one and read it, maybe it will inspire me to finally read the ones that I already own. Up next for September 30th is Heart the Lover by Lily King. I love the cover for this one. From what I can tell, it's a story of a woman who was involved in a love triangle when she was younger, and now that she's older, it's kind of coming back into her life. I think that's kind of an interesting premise, and I'm definitely putting it on my like someday TBR. Up next is Scream With Me by Eleanor Johnson, and I am so excited for this one. It's a non-fiction about exploring the horror genre through like the lens of feminism, through the larger cultural attitudes about women's rights, bodily autonomy, and more. I'm like super interested in that, and I think it would be really fun to have a list of like non-fiction books to read for October. So that one definitely going on there for me. Another arc I have for September 30th is Kitty St. Clair's Last Dance by Kate Robb. I've read another one by Kate Robb and it got a 3-star for me. And so I feel like sometimes when the first book I read by an author gets a 3-star, it's either gonna go up or it's gonna go down. And I'm really, really hoping this one goes up. So I have this as an arc. I'm planning to read it and I will probably post a full review on this one. So check back in if you're interested to see that. Another one coming out on September 30th is Orange Wine by Esperanza Hope Snyder. I'm just gonna read a little snippet from this one. It says, isolated in a society that opposes her desires, Inez struggles with her identity as a mother, artist, sister, lover, and woman. Her choices are stark: accept her duty to her family or embark on a sensual journey of self-discovery. Each path will cost her, or those she loves, something dear. I'm interested in this one. I love the cover. I think it's so beautiful. And yeah, this one is also an arc that I have, so I'll be reading it. I think I have 4 arcs coming out on September 30th, so I probably won't post reviews for all of them. I usually try to pick the ones I like the most or that I find the most interesting. So that one could definitely make the cut. I like with At Last, I love stories about like women and like motherhood and these kinds of things. So that one probably, or maybe will end up making the cut, but we'll just see. Okay, and the final new release in September that I am excited / looking forward to / interested in is Orpheus Builds a Girl by Heather Perry. I'm just gonna read some of the blurb for it. When Wilhelm immigrates to America, he carries with him a vision of his dark-haired beauty, a bride that's promised to him, presented to him in his dreams by his beloved late grandmother. In Key West, Florida, a beautiful young woman is taken to him in the grip of illness, and he recognizes her immediately as his promised bride. Despite his efforts, the sickness takes hold and his beloved slips away from him. But Wilhelm will not be kept from his destiny, not even by death. Using research compiled over decades, he sets about attempting to restore his love to her body so that they might be together forever. It's giving me kind of Frankenstein vibes a little bit. I'm not 100% sure based on the wording whether this means that he's like finding ways to keep her alive or finding ways to bring her back from the dead, but I'm very interested in it. So that is the last book that is coming out this month that I know of that I'm excited for. If I missed anything, if there's a book coming out that you're like, oh my god, wait, you probably would really like this one, please let me know. And also let me know if you're excited for any of these books or if you have any recommendations for me as I build out my September TBR. I am always open to those. So yeah, that's all, and hopefully this is helpful to you. Hopefully you had a good time. And as always, you can find me over on Storygraph, Goodreads, and Fable if you're interested in seeing some of my other reviews and some of my other bookish content. Thanks for watching.